Hello, this is wmpyr. I got a question, and this question is he was saying, do you not train with the staff, the bow staff? And he was basically talking about two-handed weapons. And okay, so first of all, the bow staff and two-handed weapons, I have a little bit of training in it, a little bit, and it comes from Aikido. When I was in college, I got to do a little bit of Aikido, and then I also got to do a little bit of. I trained with a guy who was a karate expert, and his um, best weapon or what he was really good at was with the bow staff. So he taught me some things as well. Um, so just a tiny bit. I got to experience that, and that was awesome. But yeah, me personally, it's not my main thing at all. Okay, so that's very black and white, clear to me. Okay, and then he also says, you focus more on the knife. Uh, is that why you don't train with two-handed weapons? And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's my focus is on the knife, and the sticks. The sticks is there to, at least for me, it's really to help my knife work. The sticks become the foundation, even though they may seem super different. Single stick and double stick really are there to help my knife skills, and that's the way that I train, and that's the way that I view it. And to me, that's the way Filipino martial arts is. Kali, Escrima, Arnis, that's the way it works. Okay. And that's the way I learned it, and that's what I do. And the other thing is, it's not that I'm against two-handed weapons um, or anything like that. When I trained in Filipino martial arts from various people, um, they didn't teach me two-handed weapons. It was all one-handed weapons. And I'm pretty sure they didn't teach two-handed weapons, period. That everything they taught was a one-handed weapon. Um, so that tells me that it's just the percentage in Filipino martial arts today. It's very, very high that our expertise is one-handed weapons. That's what it's become today. Filipino martial arts, Kali, Eskrima, Arnis, we focus on one-handed weapons. That's like 90%. I would maybe even higher. All right. Now, historically, that was not the case. Historically, if you go back far enough, because it comes from the ancient battlefields, they had spears, they had two-handed swords, they had shields, axes, you name it, right? So yes, they had two-handed weapons, but over time, like I said, it's evolved. Filipino martial arts has become a very specific thing. And unless you have that kind of lineage, where you go, in my family, this Filipino family, they specifically focused on what they call the two-handed weapon stuff is, from my understanding, dos manos, which I heard uh, Sensei Paul Vunak mentioned that in an instructional video, which I am assuming he learned from Professor Dan Inosanto, who I am assuming that Professor Dan Inosanto learned that from, like, when I think Bruce Lee, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce Lee told him, "You're Filipino, you should learn some Filipino martial arts. I'm Chinese, I learned Kung Fu, various forms of Kung Fu. So because of that, you shouldn't limit yourself just to your own culture, but you should know your own culture." That's, I believe, one of Bruce Lee's messages to Professor Danny Inosanto. And I don't know if it was because of that, but he was researching Filipino martial arts, and in one of the seminars he did, I thought he said he trained with like 30 different Filipino masters over there in the Philippines. And if I'm not mistaken, I think at least one of them probably mentioned the Dos Manos stuff in his research. So I believe it definitely does exist. I do think it's rare. Now, today, if you do train in Filipino martial arts and you learn two-handed weapons like a bow staff, um, I believe the chances of that coming from FMA is very low. It's very, very rare. But that coming from um, a Korean martial art or a Japanese martial art or some other style other than Filipino martial arts, I think the percentage is very high because remember, the not everybody in the Philippines, but a lot of people in the Philippines, they cross-trained and they mixed. And at least it was taught to me this way is that your Filipino martial arts, mix it with other styles. And therefore, I believe there is a high percentage that if you do learn two-handed weapons like a bow staff in FMA, that it came from an outside source. Okay, so that's really, and in my case, I did not learn that. It was just single, double sticks, just the traditional empty hand and the knife and the stuff that that you see me do. Um, Okay, and once again, if I ever come on YouTube and you see me doing two-handed weapons, I hope that I tell you guys, I cite my sources and say this came from either like me messing around or me figuring it out on my own, or this comes from my karate train, my little bit of karate training, or this comes from a little bit of my Aikido training, that I cite the source so you guys know where is this guy getting this stuff from. Okay, once again, I feel that's very important in today's martial arts world, especially with all the information coming from everywhere. All right, so this guy, he said that one of his the big questions why he wanted to ask me this about the two-handed weapons is he goes, what if you're in a street situation and all you see, all that's available are two-handed weapons? And he goes, that I know that's not your thing, but what do you do then? And the answer is, remember, in Filipino martial arts, the whole principle, the most important principle that I learned was flow. Flow means to be like water, to be flexible, right? Therefore, I would get a two-handed weapon and use it as best as I can. I would try to transfer as much as the single stick and double stick skills that I have into that as much as I can, but it's going to be very limiting because that is a two-handed weapon and it's just not the same. What that tells me is that, hey, this is not my strength. Therefore, I'm not in a very good situation. That's just the truth. And if you don't like that, then make sure you go get two-handed weapon training. Go cross-train. And like I said, I did a little bit of that, so I'm not completely lost, right? But yeah, that's just the truth. And I think, that means that FMA is not perfect. And in fact, to me, that's what makes it realistic. Because if I were to tell you, oh, we have two-handed weapons, one-handed weapons, we have everything. It's just, if it sounds too good to be true, then there's something a little wrong there, in my opinion. If you cover everything, then the quality is going to drop. Okay, period. That's just the way it is. The quality will drop. And with Filipino martial arts, I believe we specialized in one-handed weapons, and enough to the point where I've been saying on my YouTube channel, I haven't heard other people say this, but I say on my YouTube channel, FMA is, we're one-handed weapon people. And yeah, and I don't think I'm necessarily wrong about that. I am, generalizing, but I think it's a good generalization to avoid confusion. And therefore, if I ever am in a real life situation, I know where my strengths are. I know where my weaknesses are. Two-handed weapons, that is a weakness. And single-handed weapons, that would be my strength. It's good to know thyself, especially in combat. You don't want to discover yourself right there on the spot, on the fly. That's rough. So you should know thyself before going in. That's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.